How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, everybody? We have another week of Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That is my boy, Will.
What up?
In the background, you have Rich Casual, our producer. And this is a podcast where we talk everything mixed martial arts, combat sports, sometimes other things. But if this is your first time tuning in and you haven't subscribed yet, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you are not a big YouTube person, but you like listening, you got Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, anywhere podcasts are found, you can find us. Or maybe you like interacting through social media.
Yeah, we're at Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, everywhere.
Soon to have a website.
Soon to have a website. We're on Twitch, Story of the Fight on Twitch, live right now. Check us out there as well.
Facebook?
I don't think so. We should.
I don't think we do anything very much on Facebook.
No, we should change that.
We probably should. Yeah, man. So since last time we were on, Will, to now, something's changed.
Yeah, you finally watched ONE FC.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. The other thing is you're married now, Will.
Hey,
congratulations to Will. Congratulations. We had been talking about the wedding coming up soon. The day finally came. Our boy is now married now. Fantastic, man. Super proud of you, Will. It was awesome. It was a good time.
Thanks for officiating the wedding.
Dude, your boy up there officiating. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. But I will say this, seeing Coleslaw, Sam, Ruben, Tony, Kevin, having everybody together at the same time, man. It's a wedding with the boys. You know what I mean?
Wedding with the boys.
It was a blast, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was a good
time. But that's one thing, right? The other thing, Will, I want to tell you, I'm while I said I was very proud of you, getting married, doing the whole married man thing, I'm kind of disappointed at you. Disappointed in you at the same time. Because you never had told me to watch ONE FC. And now I watched it last night and was I blown away.
Yeah, I'm like, every single weekend, I'm like, hey, watch this card. It's live right now. It's up until this point, it's always just been free on YouTube. You can watch it live on YouTube. Luckily, they're still on YouTube to watch back, so you can maybe go back and watch some of your new favorite fighters.
Them, by the way.
Yeah, and now they have this deal with Amazon Prime, it's cool for the sport probably, but it kind of sucks for the fans because, like, how can you beat free on YouTube?
Yep.
But it seems like only certain events are going to be on Amazon Prime, and I think the other events are still going to be free on YouTube because they had ONE FC 160 also Friday morning.
Yeah,
the regular time free on YouTube. I was like, cool. Watch that this morning, and then at the end of the day, I'll watch the second card. They had but only like, the first card only had a couple fights. I think 7 fights. This one that we're going to talk about, one on Prime, only had 9, so it's still not like that crazy, It's not like they had 2 12-fight cards,
Yeah, no. And then, even then, man, let's say that they continue putting major events on Amazon Prime. It still beats having to pay $7 for ESPN, and then on top of that, $70 or $80 or however much it costs now
every month
for a pay-per-view event, So if you ask me, it's still a killer deal.
Yeah, honestly, I've been trying to say ONE FC has been doing things production-wise that, like, dude, the UFC, I think eventually is not going to be the MLB or the NFL of fighting. Like, they're just stuck in their old ways, this pay-per-view model, all this stuff. Like, it's not going to, they're going to have to change.
About that production? So
yeah, it's incredible.
First off, okay, the music that they use in the background, like when they're introducing fighters and after a fighter wins and stuff like that, I'm like, it's so dramatic and I love it.
Dude.
And then they have the big screens, right? They have the lights, the fancy lights going everywhere.
The
walkouts, and then they have multiple.
Yeah.
Oh, when they have all the fighters walk out at the same time, and they're like introducing all the fighters that are going to be on the main card. I'm like, dude, this is pretty sick.
That's like old school Asia MMA, right? Where it's like, all right, we're heading into the main card. Who's gonna be on it? And all the fighters walk out onto like the stage,
Oh,
and you're like, oh, those are the guys that are gonna be fighting tonight. Like
and you
that's
see their
just sick.
hands taped up already, you know what I mean? Because they've
Yeah,
been preparing in the back, and I was like, oh my god, that's so exciting. I love it. So far I'm digging it.
yeah.
So far I'm digging it. The walkouts are pretty cool. You know,
You got the
the
screen. Everyone has their own personal displays, the screens and the smoke and the different
yes.
colors and stuff.
And I like seeing the fighters coming out still with their sponsors on them. That to me is
Yeah.
old school, and I know that this fighter is banking on some sponsors as well. So I
Making a
kind of
bunch
feel
of money.
better about it. You know, I feel less dirty.
Yeah.
And and then let's get into the fights now.
Yeah. Well, also the last thing, one of
Yeah.
the coolest things they do is they have a little like stand right outside the cage for the belt to sit on with like a spotlight on it. So during the whole fight, you'll see the belt that's like on the line, just like right outside the
Yes.
cage. Like
Yes.
that's
Like
tight.
in like a what is it, like a chest, like an
Yeah, it's
open
like
chest, like it's a
it's like roped
treasure.
off. Like it's
Yeah,
so
dude,
cool.
that's so sick. That's so sick. Okay, we had Aliakbari versus Cerilli.
Oh, we're not starting from the top.
Oh yeah, yeah. We always start from the top. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that'd be Mighty Mouse versus Moraes. So the first time Moraes facing Mighty Mouse gives Mighty Mouse his first KO loss of his career. Moraes, huge for flyweight, right?
Yeah.
Huge for flyweight.
Flyweight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're
That's the
both
other
weighing in at
thing.
135 pounds, right?
Allegedly. That's the thing about ONE FC is like like the production's great, but like
Oh yeah.
they're so shady. Right before this, they're like, well, Moraes missed weight and failed the hydration test because they do the hydration testing. That's why
Yeah.
flyweight is 135, right? It's not 125 like the UFC.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he missed weight and the hydration test. He's got 5 hours. And it's like, wait, so you're telling me he has to lose more weight, but also
Yeah,
rehydrate
let's
more? And then and then 5 hours later, they're like, yeah, he's good. We're all good. None of it's not shown publicly ever. No numbers are really ever released. It's not on
Yeah.
camera. You just have to kind of take their word for it. And at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
Let it fly.
if there's anybody that should care more than anybody else, it should be Demetrious Johnson. It should be DJ, Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
He's the one that should be upset. And if he's not, and he's still walking in there ready to throw down, then let me watch. I'll watch.
Dude,
I don't care.
You know the even crazier thing about it is
What?
Matt Hume, the guy who mentored Demetrius
Yeah.
throughout his career, he's in charge of like the hydration level testing and stuff for ONE FC. So
I
it's
love
like
it.
if Matt Hume's signing off on it, let's go.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But yes, Morai is huge, man. Huge.
Massive.
And that's one of the very first things that I noticed. And then we get into the fight. By the way, just absolutely ripped. Both Demetrius and Moraes.
That's what happens when there's no testing.
Absolutely ripped. And
you saw the who. What a who. You know what I mean?
but one thing that I absolutely loved from Mighty Mouse in this fight was the way that he was constantly switching stances.
It's a battle to win.
He didn't stay in one stance for more than 5 seconds at a time, and it all depended on what Moraes threw his way. Moraes starts circling to his left, then DJ would go, he would stand in orthodox and hit him with a calf kick. He'd start circling to his right, he'd go to southpaw and hit him with the body kick. And he did the exact same thing over and over again for that first round. And it took a while for Moraes to kind of start making that read, which for me was kind of surprising. But I thought that the way he was just constantly changing was amazing.
It's crazy too because like the first fight, obviously, Moraes KO'd him with a knee right to the grounded opponent. New rule. It was like the day before. Mighty Mouse was talking about how I think it was the Piotr Jan Aljamain Sterling fight that happened around the same time, and Piotr Jan kneed Aljamain Sterling, and Demetrius was like, "That's why we have knees to the ground opponents in one. It's way better." And then that weekend, he gets KO'd by a knee, right? So big deal, right? Mighty Mouse hadn't been knocked out like that, so it's like, how's he going to come out in this fight? And I think the fact that he fought Rodtang in between these two fights was massive because, I mean, he dealt with Rodtang, who's supposed to be this like tank running through people, right? And he dealt with him. So he comes out in this fight, and he's like, if you would have told me that that Moraes had knocked out Mighty Mouse and I didn't know, I'd be like, wow, Mighty Mouse is kind of crazy for for going at him like this, because that first round he was putting it on him. The pressure was crazy, and it's like, this guy just KO'd you, man. Like, maybe like take a back seat a little bit and like feel
Chill,
out, get a feeling out process, because he was in his face. He's putting his hands behind his back, all this shit that's like really makes you realize how
like
stupid.
Stood there and like reached out to him and froze for a second.
On.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what?
You're like, dude, Dana, we traded Ben Askren for this. What are we doing? Like, oh man, people just don't want to watch these guys. They're not marketable. And meanwhile, this guy's like
I will say this. This is the most entertaining DJ I've seen in a long time. And Rich, if we can keep this picture up for a while here. But I thought that he was very entertaining, a little bit of showboating in there. You know, he was being very aggressive, like you said. But I think that might be part of the difference between the first fight and the second fight, was that he tried to keep Moraes on his back foot as much as possible. And he kept on pressing. And if you notice, he sat back a little bit more in the second. And especially when they were trading, he was allowing himself to get pushed back to the cage a little bit more. And that's when Moraes started tagging him. He hit him with that head kick, and DJ got wobbled.
He got wobbled. Yeah, he got wobbled.
But he handled it very well, you know. And then I believe he went for a double leg, wasn't successful. Moraes ended up sprawling, and you know, Moraes kept some top control a little bit in the first round, quite a bit in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1FC, so you don't score it by round, but it's hard not to while you're watching it. And I had Mighty Mouse winning the first round despite being off his back, because, dude, he beat the brakes off of him, off his back.
Cut him up.
There's that one elbow in like a modified half guard almost, where he throws the elbow up, splits him open over the eyebrow. At the start of the second round, Moraes' left eye is like swollen, and then his other eye has a massive cut on it. And it's like, this guy was the guy on top the whole fight, for the whole round. So that was cool. Second round, Moraes' top game, very good. So I had it like round apiece going into the third. But that's when I kind of started to realize, like, Mighty Mouse was starting to impose his will a little bit in that third round. Moraes looked like he was starting to slow down a little bit, I think because of all the pressure, because he's such a movement-based fighter, you know. He's always all over the place, and he's very good at that. But when he's just pressuring him, it's hard to maintain that, you know. So I think he started to kind of slow down, and that's where Mighty Mouse started setting up traps like crazy, man. You talk about the switching stances. He kept going to orthodox, and he landed that lead left hook a bunch. And then instead of switching stances to throw it, he would start shifting to throw it, where it's mid combo, and then he's out in southpaw. But then also he would start to switch stances, and instead of throwing the left hook, he would step in with his left leg like he's going to go through a body kick, but then he'd drop it. And every time he would do that, Moraes starts countering with the left hook of his own. And then he kept stepping over like, oh, I'm going to kick it. No, I'm not. And then the left hook would come out. And he's getting that reaction over and over again. And then finally he steps over, lifts that left leg, the lead leg now. Moraes throws the left hook. He dips it, and then shifts again to throw that right hand, which is this one right here, I think.
And in the background, because the video is a second delayed, right? That they're showing. So you see him ducking
dodging the left hook.
under. Oh, it's beautiful. This is why I love this shot. So you see him dodging it, and then you see the aftermath there from the right hook. But dude, it was just a beautiful performance.
Beautiful.
I wonder what shot it was that really, really got to Moraes, because in that third round, he was reacting so heavily to every feint that DJ was throwing.
Dude, so I think at that point it wasn't necessarily just because he got hit with something big. I think it was also just because, like you said, Demetrious would switch stances to the leg kick, switch stance to the body kick, switch stance to the lead left hook. So he just kept
always attacking.
You have to anticipate something, but then at a certain point, you're like frozen by the anticipation. And not only that, Mighty Mouse makes it up so well that he doesn't really know what's coming. So then when he started lifting that leg, he's like, I know the counter for that. Catch him while he's off balance with his left hook. And then Mighty Mouse is like, perfect. You're going to keep going to that well. Here's this.
Yeah.
Hits him with the right. And then the finale, the shot that put him away. He hits him with his right hand. Moraes is stumbling back. He's hurt. And Mighty Mouse is just like miming him almost. It's walking him down, And like he's like, what shot am I gonna land? How am I gonna land this? And then as soon as he gets up to the cage, he jumps up, throws the left knee, and then murdered him. The way he fell after that, I was like, holy shit.
The
fact that he
walk-off.
finished, yeah, and the fact that he finished it with a knee, these guys are 1-on-1 against each other with a knee knockouts, like that's fucking crazy. That's some movies, like that's movie stuff.
The calculated finish was so impressive.
It's crazy, man.
Because a lot of times you see a fighter wobble like that, and the first instinct for the fighter is like, let me rush him, let me throw my left, right, see if I can land a shot. Yeah, that can put him out. And instead, just super calculated, waiting, boom. And the way that Moraes collapses afterwards, just collapses. It was a thing of beauty, man. And I wasn't the biggest DJ fan while he was in the UFC, right? I didn't know how much of it was him being that good and how much of it was just the level of competition at the time that he was in his reign. Maybe it was a combination of the two. I don't know. And in the fights, when I was watching, weren't the most exciting fights. I mean, he had an exciting fight against like Elliott when he was in some danger too.
And that Ray Borg fight where he got him with the slam armbar.
Yeah. But man, watching this, and it's just such a good reminder for me of just how good Demetrious Johnson is. There's a lot of people that regard this guy as the GOAT.
It's for me, it's there's three people that you can even consider, and Mighty Mouse is one of those three. So, yeah, I mean,
who else?
You can still
who else?
GSP, John Jones. John Jones is the tough one because of the drug tests. You could also throw Fedor in there.
Picograms.
Yeah, picograms. You can throw Fedor in there, but the difference between all of them is, I mean, Mighty Mouse was cutting through that line the same time GSP and John Jones were, and what are they doing now? Are they avenging losses with finishes? Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, Mighty Mouse is still doing it, dude. He's still doing it.
It's nuts. 36 years old, right? And so we're talking about the production and the dramatic music that came on after you won. But then I sent you a couple pictures.
Yeah.
And these shots gave me chills where he's standing there with the belt. Yeah. He's looking up at the sky, confetti falling down in the background. And you just see him looking around, and then he looks at the camera and like points at the camera. I'm like, oh my, dude, I'm getting chills right now. You can't see this, dude. I got goosebumps going down my arms. But just such amazing shots. And it just really made cool. You like, oh my God. Like you said, it made it feel like you're watching a movie.
Yeah, and it makes the belts like that much more like important. Like it makes like the belts seem like, man, you just achieved something massive. Like the music's going crazy, there's gold confetti flying all over the place, and you're like, damn, dude. And how about when Chatri puts the belt on, he like pretends like he's gonna fall.
Yeah, like it's too heavy. Dude,
so
it's just it was a fantastic main event, man. And hey, so for any viewers that are joining us right now, live on YouTube, feel free to kind of throw in some comments, whether it's your last memory of Mighty Mouse and UFC. If you did watch the event last night, what were your thoughts of the event? But we'd love to hear from anybody watching right now. But yeah, that's all I have on the main event, man. Do you have anything else?
Not really. I'm sure they'll do the trilogy now.
It's got to be, right?
You got to do the rubber match. The coolest thing too about this ONE FC is you don't really have like the trash talking in ONE FC that you do in the UFC. It's like part of their whole thing is like respect, right? There's a video of Chatri just tossing a belt to Nong-O instead of putting it on him after a fight because he like celebrated too recklessly after the fight. So like they're like very much like a respect thing, right? To the point where in between fights they show like there's always a highlight reel, but it's instead of finishes,
top
it's like
10 respectful moments.
Top 10, it's like a big thing with ONE FC, right? So like it's very cool to see when Mighty Mouse got knocked out by Moraes. Immediately once he's back with us, he's like congratulating him, thanking him, all this stuff. And this one, same thing. Moraes, I mean, after he came back over to Moraes, and Moraes was sitting on the ground with his trainers and stuff, and he hugs them. They like exchange a bunch of words, and like they shake hands at the end. Like just seeing that respect after two guys violently knocked each other out with knees, like very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and I love that the ref, the boss Cos, right? That's
Yeah, he's great.
dude, he's up fantastic.
Olivier, the boss
Because
cost.
usually fighter going up after another fighter's recently been knocked out, they usually shove him away and say, "Hey, not right now," right? In this case, he looks at DJ, he's like, "All good," and he's like, "Yeah, all good." And he goes down there, and they gave him some time together, right? Which
Yeah,
was Moraes concussed, maybe.
probably.
Did he know where he was? Probably not.
Yeah.
But he recognized DJ, and they exchanged some nice words,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool to see. um, but I was expecting when the camera was on Moraes to see Joe Rogan sit next to him already holding the mic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While he's sitting up against the cage. But man, it was an amazing main event. So
Yeah. The only thing that I wish I forgot the guy Brent Stover. Not bad as a commentator. But they
is that
had Michael
the great value
Discount
Conan
Con-
O'Brien I
yeah.
was telling you about? Yeah.
Yeah, but they had Michael Chavello there, and I know some people don't like Michael Chavello, but I like him. And he was there, and they every at the end of every round or every so often they'd be like, Michael Chavello, what are you seeing? Blah blah blah, and he would just immediately start hyping up the fight that much more, and it gets that much more intense. And it's like, man, why is he not on the broadcast full time right now?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they're on Prime and they wanted something more like traditional, because I don't think he's very traditional, right? He's pretty nuts. He goes
Yeah.
hard, but God, this fight would have been that much bigger with him.
Even the
I think
announcer
he'd have
said they're
moved on.
like, anytime Chavello comes on, the fight gets that much better or something like that. And I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean, dude, he just hypes it up hard, dude. So it was kind of a bummer. The 160 card from the morning, he was the play-by-play guy, and for some reason I thought for sure they'd have him on this one too, and they just would pull him in randomly and stuff. But I wish he was a mainstay on this one instead of Great Value
it was
Conan.
good though.
Maybe
It was
Amazon
good.
put that guy in. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. We'll go on to the co-main event. We had Liam Harrison versus Nong-O. Another
Nong-O's a
one.
savage.
He is a savage.
Yeah.
This was a very quick fight.
Yeah. And Harrison's a
fight.
beast, man. This doesn't it doesn't give if you don't know Liam Harrison, this fight is like, oh man, Nong-O ran through this guy. But this is not just like some guy for Nong-O to run through. Liam Harrison is gnarly. And one of the things about Liam Harrison is that he's very durable. That's one of his things is man, it's tough to put him out. He's the guy, I think I showed you, I think it was his last fight. Yeah, against Sanchai, where you only if you get dropped 3 times in a round in Muay Thai, it's over.
Yeah.
He gets dropped twice back to back. And you're like, oh shit, if he gets dropped one more time, it's over. It's over. And then he drops Sanchai 3 times back to back to back to finish the fight. And it was like, oh my, it was crazy. So the guy's very durable. Comes back from 2 knockdowns to get 3 of his own. And then in this one, Nong-O just cuts through him with leg kicks. It was nasty.
Some of the most brutal leg kicks I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just heavy thumping every single time they landed, man. It sounded like they had a boom mic sitting right above them, like right next to the knee, right next to it. It was crazy. And he knocks him down the first one with the leg kick. I think it was after this one here. He knocks him down. Or no, he doesn't knock him down. He makes him
he stumbles. He's like, oh.
He stumbles.
And
yeah.
It straightens out real quick for a second, and then he's able to bend it again. You're like, oh god,
that's
good. Gnarly.
And then he lands another one where he knocks him down. And at that point, his leg's straight, and he looks around, and he's like, "Oh, I got a serious problem with my leg right now." And he points at his leg, and he's like, "Dude, I can't. He's
just like,
that's it.
It doesn't work." I mean, it looked
what are you gonna
do? It looked like it was cramping up, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's it seized up. It looked like he couldn't even move it.
Man. Some type of nerve that was hit and damaged at that point in time. Because afterwards he was standing, and walking. But it might have just been at that point. Yeah. They're talking about the announcer said they're like, "Hey, Liam Harrison's up again and walking, which is good."
Dude, he didn't even make it to the decision.
Yeah, no, they said he was up and walking. But it might have been one of those things where just that kick, and it just happened to shut his leg off at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, just nasty.
Crazy.
Also, man, Muay Thai with the MMA gloves is just pure violence. because there's no like high guard shelling for it, because like
Yep.
I mean that's another thing that ONE FC has done that really sets them apart and will like project them. I think is like because Muay Thai has always been the thing. Like people are always like, man, I wish Muay Thai was more popular here. Like it's kind of crazy that no one watches it. All this stuff. I used to watch Lion Muay Thai. It used to be on Access TV. Like in high school, I used to watch it.
Yeah.
Back when I had TV, and it was like, man, nobody watches this. Like, but it's gnarly. But that was with the big gloves and stuff. He can block, he can shell up, all this stuff. With this, you cannot. It is just pure action. Just pedal to the metal. It's
and
so
that's
gnarly.
one of the things I loved, and I was going to point out to you is just the fact that they're still wearing their MMA gloves for this.
Yeah,
which makes it that much more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, stuff gets through the guard way easier. I think it was Rich Franklin on the broadcast talking about how with MMA gloves, it is forcing Muay Thai to evolve because the jab in Muay Thai is not a big thing. Kickboxing and boxing it is, but in Muay Thai it's really not a big thing. It's not like if you go to Thailand to train Muay Thai, one of the staples they're teaching, it's not going to be the jab. But because you can split the guard with the MMA gloves in Muay Thai, all these fighters are having to adapt, and you can drop people with the jab, So like, it's pretty cool.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Which I mean, we can move on to the next fight because again, this was in the first round, first couple minutes. Yeah. But we have
look at him.
Oh, poor guy. This is when he was pointing at his leg, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's wincing in pain or smiling because he's like, hey, my leg doesn't work,
Yeah.
Well, one of the two, not sure. Yeah. But before this, we had Savas versus Panpayak.
Yeah. So Panpayak was supposed to fight on the morning card, 160. But Rod Tang had to pull out due to illness on the weight cut. So this was supposed to be Savas Michael versus Rod Tang.
Which would have been awesome also.
Well, it kind of sucks for Savas because Rod Tang is, like we talked about earlier, the guy's a tank. He will walk through with his hands down. You hit him, he'll put his hands down and just stand there and let you hit him a bunch of times, and he'll just walk right down. After? Yeah, and he'll just walk right down and start blitzing you again. So it's very much like, all right, this guy's coming at me. That's what I'm training for. The day before, they're like, hey, Rod Tang's out. Panpayak was supposed to fight in the morning. They moved him to this card like 3 days before the event. He was actually supposed to fight another guy because I think I don't remember who it was. Someone else pulled out. There was a bunch of shakeups. Haggerty was supposed to be on this card too. He got ill. Yeah, he jumped on the card 3 days before to fight somebody else. Panpayak did. And then that fight, Rod Tang pulled out. So they're like, hey, Panpayak, you're up on the main card. You're fighting Savas Michael. And not just that.
This, right?
The guy Panpayak was supposed to fight, they're like, hey, you're sitting this one out. You're not fighting anymore. Kind of sucks, but whatever. But Panpayak is a completely different fighter than Rod Tang. He's like a very much reserved kickback guy, you come to me type style. So it's like for Savas, it's like, man, my whole game plan kind of goes out the window like the day of the event.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that definitely sucks. And I'm kind of glad it happened though, because I got to see Panpayak in action.
Yeah.
And so you talked about the gloves, right? And one of the things that Muay Thai has to develop is a very good step in elbow. Because sometimes with the big glove, going up against a big glove, it's a lot easier to block that jab.
Yeah.
But with the gloves, trying to split the gloves, going in with a hard step in elbow, a lot of times can do the trick.
Yeah.
And Panpayak's step in elbow was so nasty, so fast, man. The way that he's able to step into it and just bring the elbow up, and it caught Michael off guard a couple times.
Yeah.
But then the roundhouse kick, man.
Well, not even just the roundhouse kick. He lands the right hook. He drops him with the right hook. And as he's falling from the right hook, the left high kick comes up and just flatlines him.
For good measure.
He's literally falling from the shot from the punch. And as he's falling, he gets kicked backwards. I mean, that was.
And did you notice
insane.
that he feints with the lead elbow?
Yeah, because
he feints with the way. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Oh, it was a thing of beauty, man. That series right there. He feints with the lead elbow, comes in with the right hook, finishes with the left roundhouse kick to the head.
Beautiful.
And the way he falls back, and you could see it in his eyes right away. Yeah. I was like, oh,
Crazy.
not good.
Yeah.
But dude, just super impressed once again. And another reason, again, Will, so upset and disappointed in you that you had never told me to watch ONE FC before. And I'm watching this. And I mean, let everybody know. How many times did I text you last night about the fights?
Yeah, I think like 6 or 7. Like after each fight, you're like, bro, Panpayak, bro, Nong-O. Like, where have these guys been all my life?
Oh man, but it was such a fun night for me just watching these fights. And
Yeah,
I'm watching the main event. So, I went running with one of my friends yesterday. I think I told you I was exhausted. So I was like, man, I just don't have the energy right now to watch the entire card. So I'll watch the main card. And it was quick.
It's 30 minutes.
I think the longest fight was DJ versus Moraes. And other than that, everything was just like one right after another. And I was like, man, it's like speed rounds for me because I'm able to fast forward on Prime. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
Yeah, and the Prime interface really held up. I've never watched anything live on Prime before. So like watching this live, being able to go back and the rewind was so smooth that you could just go back and watch the finish again and like oh, it's over. Let me watch it again. Let me watch it again. Let me watch it. It's just so nice.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
But shout out Panpayak. He's now in the tournament. He wasn't going to be in the tournament. Yeah.
Hey. All right. So that means we could see Rodtang versus Panpayak later on down the road, can we?
I don't know what they're going to do with Rodtang. He might be out of the tournament now.
Oh.
I'm not sure. It depends what they're going to do. They haven't said yet.
That'd be sweet, man. That'd be sweet. Dude, hey.
Yeah.
Maybe a fight companion? Or watch party for that one?
I'm trying to do that.
I know. You should have brought that idea up.
Yeah.
Poor Will. All right, let's see here. We had Marcus Almeida, also known as Buchecha, versus Kirill Grishenko.
Buchecha, dude.
Going in 3-0 into this fight, right? I love the shorts with the black belt
old
in it.
BJ style.
Old BJ pen, yeah. And for me, I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, classic wrestler versus jiu-jitsu practitioner. Let's see how this goes. Was not expecting Buchecha to come out with those heavy leg kicks in the beginning. I don't think Grishenko was expecting that either.
No, but you know what I did expect is wild overhand rights from a jiu-jitsu guy. That is something.
We saw a couple of those.
The old Mackenzie Dern special. You know what I mean? I could throw with power. You know, where they're just throwing a baseball at somebody and missing by like 6 inches. But outside of that, I mean, man, that he shoots on the takedown. It's off balance like this. Like clearly, he doesn't quite have his legs behind that takedown, as you can see in the picture. But it was enough to get him to stumble and wrapped up that leg. I mean,
and
once he made contact,
on top of him.
Yeah, and once you make contact, or once he made contact to once he was tapping, was what, like 3 seconds, if that?
3 or 4 seconds around.
I mean, he shoots into the takedown. He's off balance. Grishenko ends up on top. He hooks around the leg, turns it over, and it's over.
Well, it's so the way that he lands on top of him,
too.
Like Grishenko falls like with his left leg kind of like up a little bit, like it's posting right next to his armpit and like that in the area. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, dude." Cool. So he grabs it, pulls back, and just starts rolling. And right away, you see the pain in Grishenko's face. Starts tapping immediately. It was fast. It was lightning fast, man. You give this guy any part of your body, and he knows what to do with it. There's very little time to process what the next step is.
Yeah, literally what the next step is. He didn't have anywhere to step. As soon as he wrapped up that leg, I was like, oh, they're a minute in, they're not sweaty yet. Like, he's not pulling that leg out. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No. And I'm thinking like, your boy went to jiu-jitsu, you know?
Yeah.
And lands a baseball choke. But I'm thinking about, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this is the next step. All right. Then I gotta, grab the lapel. All right.
Once I grab this, I can do this.
Slow, methodical, you know?
Yeah.
And I see Buchecha, I'm like, dude, it's nuts, man.
It's instantaneous.
To think that there's people like this out in the world right now that in just a second or 2 seconds, you're done, man. You don't even know what happened to you.
Yeah.
Before
Next
you know it, you're like
your leg doesn't
Grishenko.
work.
Yeah, exactly. You're Grishenko, you're Grimsey. You're like, what is going on?
But nice heartfelt moment too after the fight. dedicates it to Leandro Lowe, which unfortunately he just passed. Right? I think they just got the guy that killed him. I think he turned himself in. He was a cop too.
What?
Yeah, do you know that story?
The cop killed him?
Leandro's like jiu-jitsu legend too. He's
Yeah.
good friends with Buchecha. That's why I dedicated it to him. It was sad, man, because he's like crying. He said he wanted to pull out of the fight because they were good friends and stuff. But they were at some place, and there was an altercation started. He some guy grabbed something off his table, like a bottle or something like that. They got into an altercation. He took him down and like subdued him, right? Controlled him, and then when they got up, he pulled a gun and shot him. And then turns out that guy was a cop. Allegedly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a piece, huh?
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. So Buchecha dedicating the fight to that after winning with the heel. Like, come on. It was just a cool moment.
Again, like a movie, dude. You know?
Dude, seriously like a movie,
This is
man.
drama from beginning to end.
Yeah, when's the last time you seen a heavyweight move like that?
Oh, it's nuts. Speaking of heavyweights, though.
Yeah.
There's a couple other heavyweights. Yes, we had Amir Aliakbari versus Mauro Cerilli. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, so Aliakbari, man, he's pretty quick too. And so
yeah, he's like a heavyweight
Greco,
Mike Perry.
Yeah,
visually.
Rich will appreciate this. I saw this guy and I was like, when did Zangief start fighting in mixed martial arts?
Yeah,
because he reminded me very much of Zangief. Like he's built too, like he's just very top heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The beard, the hair, and I'm like, okay, Greco-Roman world champion.
Yeah.
Multiple time, and I was like, oh, okay, this guy gets him down on the ground and it's game over.
Yeah.
And so the first round was a lot of that. I'm surprised that he didn't finish him in the first round. He gets Cerilli down.
Yeah.
And he gets him in a crucifix in the last couple seconds. He just doesn't seem to be able to get enough shots strung together to make Herb Dean finish it up.
Also, shout out Herb Dean. I think this was his first. I think he worked both events for 1FC, and it's the first time he's done work with 1FC. And I'm pretty sure they had him do every fight but the main and co-main.
Yes, he was there for every MMA fight over and over again. And he's making some cash though, dude, because he gets paid per fight. So rake it up, doggy. Rake it
1FC cash is different, man.
Oh, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, that's
so
Singapore cash.
That's awesome. But yeah, so you have Cerilli that's stuck in the crucifix position, and Aliakbari is landing some short elbows, a couple little rabbit punches. He does bust up Cerilli while he's down.
Yeah.
The second round starts off swinging and banging. Both of these guys.
And banging. Yeah.
He's going at each other. Cerilli's landing some shots.
He starts landing, and I was like, oh, what are we doing here? And I was like, man, why is Aliakbari not taking him down? And then he did. And then
he's like, oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, this worked really well the last round.
Yeah.
Man, there were some cool takedowns, too. The way he's able to, like, drag him down and stuff was just like, man. You could just tell good wrestlers, it's just so fun to watch sometimes, the takedowns and the trips and the drags and all that stuff. You're just like, the understanding of like leverage and like, I don't know, just their ability to drag somebody down is just so gnarly to me.
Yeah, and for me, I'm watching this, and you see the urgency in Cerilli. You saw the urgency in DJ, both of them when they're inside control, because there is the threat of the knee, right? Yeah. So it made it more exciting for me even when I'm watching Aliakbari, and I'm like, ooh, is he going to throw a knee right now?
Yeah,
Because even if he's just smashed his knee into the ribs to bring the arm down a little bit, free up the head, and just starts throwing a couple headshots, it's over.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it just adds another element.
Yeah.
Which made it extra exciting for your boy here.
Yeah. And how about this? 1FC does give yellow cards. You know, they will punish you for stalling. Did you see any cards? Did you see any yellow cards given?
No. Nobody was stalling.
No, because the threat of the stall is also there. No one wants to lose half their or 25% of their paycheck or whatever. So it's like, it's action all the time. Yep. And he moved to crucifix, and I thought crucifix is one of those weird positions because you're not going to get KO'd from the shots usually, but you can't defend yourself. So it's like, when do you call it? And you see some fights in the UFC where people get in the crucifix, and it's like, remember DC when he got no time, Ozdemir on the crucifix, and it was just like
yeah.
bam, 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 and they had to call it. And the whole time, Ozdemir's like, I'm fine. I just can't defend myself physically. You can't do anything. And this one, I feel like probably could have been stopped a little bit earlier. But it's one of those weird positions. Like, when do you stop it?
Just bleed.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm in Singapore now.
Things are different over here, okay? I'm a new
Herb Singapore Herb Dean.
Another legend. That's another MMA legend now, Singapore. Yeah.
Next time Herb Dean has a late stoppage, we could just Singapore Herb Dean showed up.
I love it. But that was it, man. Those are the fights that I watched. Again, I am just over the moon right now, man, with ONE FC. I will start watching a lot more ONE. You have my word, Will. Might not be able to watch them while I'm at work. You know what I mean? And you're messaging me telling me, hey,
it's like 6
fights are on right now. And I'm like, yeah, it's 8 over there. And I'm like working. But I'm still going to catch as many fights as I can, man, because these were some of the most exciting fights. It was one of the best events I have witnessed so far this year.
You watched ONE X though, right? Or did you just watch the Mighty Mouse Rodtang fight?
I just watched the Mighty Mouse Rodtang fight. That was it.
It's a good one.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, I know now for the next one. Do we have a moment of silence, Will?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened with this card. Rodtang versus Savas Michael obviously got canceled.
So is Rodtang Jim Wan on as well?
Yeah.
And then you have Panpayak Jim Wan Nong.
Yeah, and then you have Amir Nasseri was supposed to fight Haggerty. Haggerty fell through, so they canceled that one, which is weird because, God, what's the guy's name? Why can't I think of this guy's name? Kabutov was supposed to fight Panpayak. Rodtang falls out, so they bring Panpayak up, and then so it's like, all right, who's Kabutov going to fight? And then Haggerty falls out against Nasseri, and then they're like, who's Nasseri going to fight? And I don't know why they didn't just do Nasseri versus Kabutov. Seems like that makes sense, but they didn't. So both those guys just ended up not fighting. Hopefully they got paid, but this is ONE FC, so I don't know.
That does kind of suck, though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the moment of silence. Would have been cool to have. If Rodtang was also on this card, that would have been that much better. But
and how about during the post-fight interview with DJ, and they're like, hey, the chairman CEO just said that you just got a $50,000 bonus for your performance.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? How do you feel? He's like, man, I feel good. I'll pay some taxes. I'll probably set some money aside for the college fund, and I'll take my wife to Applebee's so she can get a Coke. I was like, what?
Mighty Mouse is awesome, man. What a good dude. He's just so funny. I'm trying to think who got the
Great American Meal.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who got the bonuses. I know Mighty Mouse got one. I think Buchecha got one. Who was the other one?
I don't know. I mean, how can you not give one a Nong-O? How can you not give one a Panpayak? Those were
so Super Lake got one. He was in the prelims. I've showed you the finish of that one. That was that step in elbow KO. Super Lake got a nasty one. That was crazy. Buchecha got one. Panpayak got one. Nong-O got one, and so did Mighty Mouse.
Awesome. That's good stuff, man. Good.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go back and watch the rest of this card.
It's good, man. If only for the Super Lek fight and who was it? The Sebastian fight. That's a good one too.
Okay.
The Harada versus Harada versus Lin was decent. It's a good one watching live. It's a tough one to rewatch, I would say. But you do get a showcase of kind of how the scoring works in ONE FC, because if it was a UFC fight, I think the result would have been opposite. But in ONE FC, they do things differently. Diana Martin versus Amber Kitchen, I was really hyped for, and it didn't quite live up to what I was expecting, but it was still a decent fight, Muay Thai fight.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Will, for getting me on ONE FC. Did it take a while? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But
what I would suggest doing is on YouTube they have ONE FC Winter Warriors One of Winter Warriors 2 was good, but not as good. One of Winter Warriors, though, that card is incredible. And if you watch that, you're gonna be like, where have these guys been all my life? It is just barn burner after barn. It's crazy.
Why don't we set up a watch party?
Yeah, we should do
Winter
that.
Warriors, because then any listeners would be able to log on, create a separate page, and be in sync, because it's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube.
So that'd be fun. We should plan something like that.
I'm super down.
I'm super down too. True. And if we do that, it would force Rich the Casual to watch some fights with us.
Yeah. And what the cool thing too with this one is there's a couple fighters that you're familiar with on Winter Warriors. You got Buchecha on there.
Yes.
And your girl, Stamp Fairtex.
Oh, me gusta. Yes. Sounds like fun. Rich, would you be down to do something like that, Rich the Casual?
I'm overloaded with excitement.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, that's the best we've ever gotten, though.
If I were to be like, Rich, let's get together and watch an EA tournament. He'd be all over it, dude. All over it.
Those good old EA tournaments.
What is an EA tournament?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Did you mean esports?
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
I mean, you're gonna watch the NBA playoffs, which is a tournament, and that's super exciting.
We'll stick to weekend. What is it? Weekend Warriors? What you call them?
Weekend Warriors.
Celtics versus the Lakers. No, you're out on that.
Oh, we're good, man. Thank you.
We're good.
We're good. No, but this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to cover some fights. I'm sorry that we did not have a full-out episode last week. Again, Will was getting married, now a married man. So it was definitely worth the skip there. But we've been telling everybody, Will, if they like our stuff, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. Leave some comments. If you're watching live during the live stream, comment then, because we love interacting in the middle of the podcast. We're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. That's the goal right now.
That's the goal.
I also want to give a shout out to Kai Wu, who we just interviewed recently as well. That interview should be coming out on Wednesday. Awesome guy, man.
Yeah, super cool guy. I'm super stoked
cool
on that
guy,
interview.
Extremely intelligent. And I love the fact that he's just so versatile. He could be talking fights 1 minute, talking upbringing the next minute, and then talking Marvel characters the next minute. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and he's got a fight coming up this weekend. It'll be on Fight Pass, so that'll be super fun to watch. And then we also have the same weekend, Cyril Gane versus Taito Ivasa.
Yep. Shout out to Sansan as well, Vikram as well, Upgrade Management Team. They're all fantastic guys over there. And then, of course, if you don't want to watch us, but you want to listen to us, you got Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio, Public, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, anywhere podcasts are found. Or if you like to interact with us on the social medias. Yeah,
it's at Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere. Story of the Fight.
Soon to have a website.
What's
the website going to be?
Storyofthefight.com.
Oh my! You mean to tell me that the handles and the website and everything is Story of the Fight? It's the same?
Yeah, look at that.
If you can't find us, you're not trying hard enough. It's that simple. It's that simple. But thank you, everybody that joined us this week. And in case y'all didn't catch it, this podcast is produced by Richard Bustos, Rich Casual. He makes such a difference whenever he's on, right, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's night and day.
Love the guy.
It's night and day.
Everybody else, thank you so much for listening to another week of Story of the Fight. Still wish you would have told me sooner about ONE FC, Will.